Okay, well, this is me documenting the rebuild on Joe's Trek. It is an 87 Alliance, a 400D, I think is what we found out. It's about I think a 51 centimeter frame, built in the USA, Reynolds 531. We found it used a few years ago for about 75 bucks at the Costa Mesa Salvation Army. It came with matrix wheels that were made in the USA. The other parts, aside from the main triangle, are chromoly. It didn't come with a complete Shimano group set, but it did come with Shimano Diore front and rear derailleurs and brakes. The crank set was a Sakai SX, along with the handlebars, I guess, was also Sakai. So we've got it touch-up paint, kind of busted the rust on it, clear coated, polished, and now I'm going to start reassembling with as many of the original parts that I can use. Of course, we're replacing all the bearings and cables, brake pads, tubes, tires, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so after day one of working on the bike, this is the parts that have been assembled. Doesn't look like a whole lot was done, but actually there was, because we cleaned and redid the bearings for the forks here, which were totally worn out. And we've got the shifter levers in, which weren't indexing before, but now index really nicely, and they're totally relubed. We put the cage up for the water bottle. We cleaned and lubricated the front derailleur, so we're ready to get that adjusted as soon as we get the cables and the chain in there. And what was a little bit confusing about the chain rings were, I thought they were ovaled and wore out and damaged, but it's actually designed that way. These are oblong, and these are Oval-Tecs. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all faded and it says Oval-Tec, and they're designed to be oval to give you a power stroke as you're cranking through there. Well, so I took it apart and had to figure out how to put it back together, and did a little bit of internet research and finally figured it out. There's some markings on there that go ahead and align it with the crank. Now the shaft has all new grease and bearings, and so that's all good to go. And the last piece that we did, well, not the last piece, but the other piece that we did was the rear derailleur. Cleaned out the pulleys, lubricated it, and that's ready to be adjusted into the chain. Now the last piece are the pedals, which have been re-greased, new bearings. We had to replace the toe straps with brand new leather ones because the other ones were wore out. So these are totally been refurbished, and we'll see how far we get today. Okay, so this is day 6 of the build. I've skipped the other days video documenting. There was the next day where I mounted the tires and got them on the bike. Also redid all the bearings and grease on those wheel hubs. The following day we got the cables for the shifters mounted, and it took me about 3 days just to figure this out, how to get the front derailleur adjusted, and then the rear derailleur was no problem at all. And then after that we mounted the brakes and the brake cables, handlebars, and brakes. But now what we have to do before I finish it up is I want to have Joe sit on the bike. We're going to adjust the seat, and we're going to adjust the brakes to the correct height, and then we'll finish it up and hopefully we'll do a test ride today. Okay, well, this is the complete build. We're not totally done yet because we are, whoops, that was a wrench. We are going to put a rear rack on here, and we're going to try to find some fenders for it because it is a touring bike, and so we do want to get it set up with that touring style. But we have the grip tape on, the brakes are all adjusted, and the cables are run. We did have a problem with this front caliper where the original barrel adjuster was seized in there, and when we tried to get it out, it broke off in there. So I went to the Orange Cycle Shop, and thank goodness they had these in stock even during the COVID stuff that's going on here. And we had to drill this piece out right in here, and then I had to rethread it, but it works well now, and that's all good to go. And so, as you can see, the brakes work well, both front and back now. And it's ready to go. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the other day when I was working with the wheels, I did size and mount that brand new chain on there. So this is an 87 Trek 400D Alliance. Bought for about $75, and it's been totally refurbished and ready to hit the road.